Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Common Education Podcast. Let's Talk Hair. This is Araz. I'm your host. For those of you that are regular listeners, thank you so much for coming back every week. I love you. This is such a passion project of mine. And 90% of the time, I have so much fun writing the blog post and recording the podcast. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, I feel so overwhelmed. But then I remember, like, no, I fucking love this. And the overwhelm that I'm feeling is just my own procrastination. So with that being said, if you are watching this on YouTube, you see what I look like today. And my goal was to do the 3 episodes. I was going to batch record, and then my day got away from me. And so I chose to not have cute hair. I did do my makeup. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see my makeup is on point, my hair, not so much. But hopefully most of you are just listening to this. So it doesn't even fucking matter what I look like because I'm here to deliver some content. And I want to talk about formulation and the cuticle. So as colorists, it's really important for us. If you've been on my podcast for a while, if you've been on my Instagram, if you've consumed any of my content, you know that there are 3 pillars that I focus on when it comes to education. Now, there are a ton of incredibly talented educators who focus on technique, who focus on foil work, who focus on business, who focus on social media. Where my love, my passion, my drive, my expertise comes is into these 3 pillars. 1, the canvas, aka the hair that we work on, the science of the canvas that we work on, understanding it fundamentally, knowing how it's going to behave, what it's going to do, predicting how it's going to lift, understanding how it's going to uptake color. So the canvas, pillar number 1. Number 2, understanding our chemicals. The chemistry of what we do behind the chair is crucial. And I think there's a lot of people who scoff at it and say, oh, I'm not into that. I'm a creative, I'm an artist. And I get that. I get it. But you got to understand that in order to be the best artist that you can be, you got to know what the fuck you're working with. There's no artist in the history of artists that didn't fully understand the canvas that they were painting on and the paints that they were using and how they worked. This is no different. So I focus on the canvas, the science, the chemicals, and then the laws, understanding the laws of color, how to move color, how to shift color, and more importantly, how to formulate color, because we were never taught this shit. I take it back. I was never taught this shit in beauty school. People formulated for me in beauty school. And then when I got out and I was in the salon, I was serial. Hey, what would you do? Hey, what would you do? Hey, look at my client. What would you do? Hey, how would you formulate? What that's turned into now is going online. Hey, client is in my chair. What would you do? Help, SOS. And so I've learned and created a whole curriculum to teach you how to formulate strategically, how to formulate fearlessly. No matter what color line you use in any situation, I don't care. I'll teach you how to do it. But you're only going to learn how to do it if you understand the canvas and the science and the chemistry and the chemicals. That's the only way all of this works. So went off on a little tangent there. So today I want to talk about formulation and how to formulate with the cuticles that we are working with, because I think as colorists, it's really important to fully consider and understand the canvas that we are working with. The structure of the hair itself plays a crucial role in how hair color molecules, how they interact, and how they adhere to the hair shaft. So I want to explore a little bit about different porosity and how to choose the right products based on the porosity of the hair. First, let's talk about the cuticle. And I want you to know this, that I teach. What I'm sharing with you here is like 5% of the whole porosity piece in the fundamentals course shop. I teach this and way more in the fundamentals course shop. You can go to comededucation.com/fundamentals. Your future self will thank you for it. I promise. Ask the hundreds of people who've taken the course. It can absolutely change your career if you choose to. So let's talk about the cuticle. The cuticle layers is the outermost layer, technically layers of the hair shaft, and it consists of overlapping scale-like cells. And the condition and the characteristics of the cuticle can vary from person to person, and it will greatly impact the outcome of your hair coloring process. So I'm going to give you little snippets. Let's delve into how the different cuticle structures can affect your color results and how to formulate accordingly. like I said, this is a snippet. This is just to get your wheels turning. If you want to learn more, the fundamentals is literally for you. So first, let's talk about porous cuticles or porous hair. So when hair is more porous or cuticles are more porous, excuse me, they have a more raised or damaged structure. So those cuticle layers in porous hair are more raised, they're more swollen, and some pieces of it are missing. And because of that, it allows color molecules to penetrate more easily. So this can result in various factors, or can result from various factors. So porosity can be caused from various factors, including excessive heat styling, chemical treatment, environmental damage, and so on. So the more you color hair and you soften and swell and constrict and soften and swell and constrict, and you're using persulfates and you're using alkalinity and then you're acidifying, the more you do that, it's going to wear and tear on those cuticle layers. So hair with porous cuticle tends to absorb color very quickly, leading to what seems like a faster color development and then potentially more deeper, darker results. Okay, so formulation tip, when you are dealing with porous hair, it is crucial to adjust your formulation to prevent over depositing or darkening of the hair. So consider for sure using a lower developer, maybe consider using a non-ammoniated color, and definitely consider leveling up when you're dealing with especially grade 4, grade 5 porosity. Level up, add warmth. Level up, add warmth. A lot of you are adding gold to your toner formulas when sometimes you don't have to. If the hair isn't extremely porous, don't add gold, it's going to make it warm. But if you're dealing with extra porous hair, you need that gold, you need that warmth, and you need the lighter level because it is going to appear sometimes 2 to 3 levels darker. Okay. Also, you can reduce processing time, but not by much because you want to make sure those dye molecules couple, combine, and fully develop. So when you're working with porous hair, just know that it's going to uptake color deeper, darker, and more rapidly. Formulate accordingly. Now let's go on the opposite end of the spectrum. Some individuals have a very compact cuticle that lies very flat, very tightly sealed, like that shit is like glued down. And this hair type is naturally just more resistant to color penetration. So achieving the desired color results on the compact cuticles may require a different approach. Here's a formulation tip. If you're dealing with low porosity hair, or I'll give you this example, maybe you've experienced this before. So you have a client that's naturally like a level 7, and they want to go a little darker, like a 5. And you don't want to use permanent color on them. So you use an acidic demi, something like Shades EQ. And I've seen this, so I know maybe one of you have experienced this, or you know somebody who has, where you put the color on and you're like, what the fuck? She's still a level 7. That Shades EQ did nothing. Likely why that happened is they had very low porosity hair. That cuticle was tight. So if that cuticle is tight as it is, and you are using an acidic demi, I'm doing air quotes here. If you know, you know. If you are using an acidic demi, the color's not going to penetrate because that hair is so freaking sealed shut tight that you're going to need a little bit of alkalinity. So when we're talking about the benefits of using an acidic demi versus an alkaline demi, if you're dealing with low porosity hair, you're going to probably need a little bit of alkalinity to soften and swell that hair to get those dye molecules in. If there isn't enough alkalinity to cause a swell, those dye molecules, where are they going to go? There's nowhere. They're literally going to just slip off the cuticle like beads of water, which basically low porosity hair, if you spray water, it will bead up. It takes a long time for low porosity hair to uptake color. Quite the opposite of high porosity, right? High porosity, the cuticles are swollen, there's holes, there's gaps, it's going to suck everything up. Low porosity, it's like, nope, nope, don't want that. It's rejecting. Right? Rejecting everything. A high porosity hair is soaking it all in. Low porosity hair is basically like, no, thank you. Okay. So when you're dealing with low porosity hair, a little bit of alkalinity will go a very long way. And then obviously normal porosity, normal cuticles lie somewhere between porous and compact, depending on the hair. Usually ends naturally are more porous than the roots. But it provides more of a balanced environment for color penetration. So most color manufacturers, most color companies, they make and manufacture their hair color to work on medium porosity, normal porosity. So when you're dealing with low porosity or high porosity, and you use a color that's tested in medium porosity, you're going to have to shift the way you formulate. You're going to have to tweak it a little bit based on the canvas that you're working on. It is so important. This is why I say, like, you got to know the canvas, you got to know the chemicals. So you got to know what's in your chemicals, and you got to know what the hair is that you're working with. So when you're formulating for normal hair, it's important to maintain consistency, and follow just your standard formulation guidelines, right? Consider using your regular developer, adhering to the manufacturer's recommendation. All that is good and great when it comes to normal, regular porosity, right? But if you have high porosity or low porosity, you have to tweak. So this is a quick episode, but just to get the wheels turning a little bit, that understanding the hair structure, understanding the cuticle, understanding what's going on within that hair really allows us to customize our formulations and techniques to achieve the desired result. So you have to take into consideration the canvas that you're working on. So this is just a quick reminder, like, don't just formulate without thinking, because a lot of times we do. We are just on autopilot. We're not thinking, we're just formulating until shit goes wrong. And then it's when shit goes wrong that we start working backwards, like, where did I mess up? If you're a responsible colorist, you're going to go backward and be like, where did I go wrong? Now, there are some colorists that are like, I did everything right. Manufacturer sucks. Now I'm going to use another line because this brand sucks. It's likely not the brand. And I say that from a place of absolute love. Most, if not all of the time, when something gets fucked up and goes sideways, it's usually us. The fool with the tool. The chemicals don't have a brain, guys. They don't know what they're doing. They are formulated and they do what they're supposed to do. It's us that has the brain power behind how to formulate and what we're working with that gets the result, right? So I'd encourage you, definitely be a more responsible colorist. If you've ever blamed a color line, take a look at where maybe you went sideways, right? Because that's usually the case. And so the good news for you is, if you want to fully understand the hair, the canvas, the structure, how hair is going to behave, predict what it's going to do. If you want to understand your chemicals and how to use them, the ones that you have in your cabinet, how they work, how to use them, what their roles and goals are. If you want to understand a system on how to formulate that you probably were never taught before, multiple ways, 2 different ways to formulate, that likely you were never taught before, to take the guesswork out of formulation, the fundamentals course is for you. So what I would encourage you to do is, don't get caught up in the, oh, I don't like the science and I don't like the chemistry. Like, put that to the side and understand that if you want to level up your confidence and your skill set in understanding hair color and formulation, not just techniques, not just how to foliage, not how to do a money piece, not that, but like the foundation of the canvas that we are working on, the chemicals that we are working with, and how all of that fits together in a step-by-step like strategy, I got you. That's literally what the fundamentals course shop is. It is a very intense curriculum, broken down in very easily digestible, easily processable lessons that all build on top of each other to get you to that final lesson of how to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and how to formulate strategically so you don't have to guess anymore. That is what the fundamentals course shop is. And it's not just another online course, right? You get a fun box. Every activity or every lesson has an activity that goes with it to really anchor in learning. I'm very passionate about this. I put a lot of love, blood, sweat, and tears into it because it's something I wish I had. I wish I had in this way for me. And so if you are down with it, if this seems like it's something right up your alley, combeducation.com/fundamentals. Check it out. I think you're going to love it. I might even throw a little coupon code down here. All right, guys. I hope this was helpful. Get you thinking about porosity a little bit, get you thinking about understanding what you're working with, and check out the fundamentals. Until next time, happy hair coloring.